you better step up your game, plain and simple, because that's what your employees expect. And it's what your customers expect too. Not to use an old-timey phrase, but if you're going to put on a show, you got to understand that good enough is no longer good enough. You need graphics, you need multiple cameras, you need a decent set. Basically, you need production values. If you don't have them, you don't have an audience.
Not bad isn't good enough, and good isn't good enough either.
The rise of broadcast tech in traditional AV systems. Who exactly is driving innovation in this space? And leveraging projection mapping and drones for Egyptian history. All that and more next on AV Week. This is AV Week, episode 742, recorded Friday, November 7th, 2025. Step up your game. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of the biggest news and stories in the AV and the IT worlds. We have acquisitions, Egyptian drones, and IKEA gets into Matter. Let's get into it. Our top story is Sound Productions has announced the acquisition of ProAudio.com. Texas-based Sound Productions says the acquisition expands both its inventory and customer base in the central United States. Pro Audio, headquartered in Grand Prairie, Texas, has served contractors and end users for more than 45 years, specializing in audio, video, and lighting solutions. Company leaders say the two organizations share a commitment to education, customer service, and technical expertise, values that align closely with Sound Productions' long-standing training initiatives and community outreach. Sound Productions CEO Josh Kurtlet emphasized that the merger aims to provide, quote-unquote, a broader range of solutions, faster fulfillment, and deeper technical support. Now, the combined entity will continue operating under the Sound Productions name with expanded online offerings and fulfillment capability. In Cairo, the long-awaited Grand Egyptian Museum opened its doors with one of the most ambitious multimedia shows ever staged. The ceremony featured a massive video mapping system covering 18,000 square meters, powered by 130 Titan 37,000 lumen projectors that was powered or driven by 40 data-ton WatchPack 60 servers, and of course synchronized through 10 Barco Event Master E2 processors. The production merged projection, lighting, and drones, as well as 5,000 drone aerial performance depicting ancient Egyptian symbols, including a flying image of King Tutankhamun. The show was produced by Egyptian company Highlights Group with partners Media Hub, Lamaski, Kavant, Live Legends, 360 Collective, and Dirty Monitor. More than 70 countries were represented at the opening, including 39 heads of state. The billion-dollar museum spans 500,000 square meters and houses the complete Tutankhamun collection, which is over 5,000 artifacts. Now, that is alongside a 3,200-year-old statue of Ramses II, as well as a 4,600-year-old solar boat. The Grand Egyptian Museum is also the first in Africa and the Middle East to receive EDGE Advanced Green Building Certification, integrating sustainable systems with advanced visitor technologies such as AR, VR, holograms, and AI-powered guides. IKEA is expanding its smart home lineup with a series of new devices compatible with Matter interoperability standard. Complete side note here, go to Wikipedia, go to Google, and look up the Matter standard. The company's goal, they say, is to make connected home control more accessible by ensuring devices work across multiple ecosystems. Now that includes Apple Home, Google Home, and Amazon Alexa. Among the new releases are updated versions of the Dira hub, as well as a range of energy-efficient lighting and environmental sensors designed to function with Matter 1.3 protocol. IKEA says this move represents a major step toward open, brand-agnostic home automation. And finally, another announcement from Integrated Systems Europe. Our friends over at ISE 2026 will host its first ever cybersecurity summit in Barcelona. The event, announced by ISE organizers Avixa and Cedia, aims to confront growing threats across the AV and IT landscape, from ransomware, data breaches that are impacting networks, as well as control system and digital signage platforms. According to show director Mike Blackman, the summit will gather security specialists, integrators, and manufacturers to define standards, share risk mitigation strategies, and develop cross-industry guidelines. Topics will include network segmentation, firmware integrity, supply chain security, and incident response readiness. For corporate and higher education environments where AV systems increasingly operate on shared networks, this summit underscores the need for cyber hygiene and vendor accountability as part of every development. The Cybersecurity Summit joins a growing list of vertical-specific conferences at ISE, reinforcing the show's evolution from a product expo into a global technology forum for the connected enterprise. That's your AV news. Stick around for this week's Roundtable, where we will discuss the rise of broadcast in AV and who exactly is driving innovation. This is AV Week.
Hey listeners, it's your AV sneakerhead, Jennifer Weaver. Listen to AV Career Masterminds, where I chat all things job-related in the audio-visual industry. You can find AV Career Masterminds where you subscribe to podcasts.
Welcome back. Now we bring in our fantastic roundtable with us to discuss the other news we have got this week. We have two doctors today. And there's an old joke about two doctors, no waiting. Adeline Tatum, Dr. Adeline Tatum from UCLA. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Tim, for having me on your podcast.
Absolutely. And also Dr. Mark Pescatori from SCN Magazine. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Always happy to be here.
Pescatori doesn't like it when I call him doctor, but he has 100% one. I will 100% give him the props because he spent an awful lot of time in classes and writing papers for that PhD. And last but not least, Mr. Brock McGinnis from Nationwide. Welcome, sir.
Good day, Tim. Always good to be here.
All right, good to see you. Speaking of SCN, our first story comes to us from SCN. Walmart has outfitted its new corporate campus studios and event center with Marshall Electronics equipment, underscoring a major upgrade in its internal media production capabilities. Pause for a second. I love Marshall cameras. They're fantastic. They're itty bitty and they do a great job. This is not about Marshall cameras, and you'll stick with me for a second and you'll find out. All right. So they have 6 Marshall cameras in this studio. It's a podcasting studio. They've got other studios, though, inside the facilities at Bentonville, including 2 additional cameras in the TV studio / conference space. This is deployed across a 1,500-seat auditorium. That space is used for live events as well as company-wide meetings, and the article says musical performances as well. According to Dave Magnia from Walmart's chief AV and broadcast engineer, the retailer is leveraging broadcast equipment that is suited to their evolving in-house broadcast needs. That right there is what we're going to be talking about. Pescatori, I'm going to pick on you for a second since it's your article. This is not the first, nor is it the last story about broadcast gear inside AV spaces. You and I have been to NAB a number of times. I went to IBC for the first time this year, along with Chris Netto and a bunch of other AV heads. IBC is the NAB of Europe. I am not going to use the word convergence. I'm allergic to that word. But there is a coming together of these technologies to the point where we're finding AV folks at NAB, at IBC, and we're finding broadcast folks everywhere else. So as these organizations are moving their production spaces and their needs in-house, what sort of staffing needs do they need? What sort of infrastructure needs do they need? And why are they bringing, what has been traditionally, a full range broadcast production internally, corporately?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been hearing it from every integrator I've talked to. I'm sure you have as well. And I'm sure Brock will back us up on this one. You better step up your game, plain and simple, because that's what your employees expect. And I'll use the C word. I'll use convergence because you really are taking broadcast gear and bringing it into the AV space, just like you're taking AV gear and putting it into the broadcast space. That's a whole other discussion for cheaper broadcasters, shall we say. That's a whole other discussion. But for this, it's what your employees expect, and it's what your customers expect too. Not to use an old-timey phrase, but if you're going to put on a show, you got to understand that good enough is no longer good enough. You need graphics, you need multiple cameras, you need a decent set. Basically, you need production values. If you don't have them, you don't have an audience. You're too easily distracted. I mean, people are too easily unimpressed. I mean, you got a phone here. You can just Oh, yeah. I mean, you can just do anything you want. You know how many cat videos I can access right here from my phone? So
millions.
Exactly.
Millions.
So you gotta be able to keep up with the production Joneses, and Walmart understands this, and they've planned accordingly.
Headline, same question. Is you're sitting there inside UCLA? Certainly, you guys have a number of production facilities. What exactly are higher education, college, universities, as well as corporate folks looking at when they start bringing in these broadcast quality systems?
So I really appreciate what you said, Mark, because you're right. Our audience are the most important, our stakeholders, and we have to remember that everyone has different learning style. When they come into that studio, when they come into that broadcast, when they come to that event, we need to remember, how are they going to receive this information? What are the best methods? So you have to make sure that we have it all. We have to think from a 5-year-old perspective to a 95-year-old perspective, right? So at higher ed, I've seen that, well, in our department, Digital Spaces, we do a lot of research. We do a lot of, my executive director, of course, shout out to Joe, and to Danny, my director. We do a lot of collaboration with different stakeholders, such as our faculty. We do with our TLC, which is our Teaching and Learning Center. We make sure to include students. So we make sure that everyone have a voice when we're going to develop something. Like we're piloting our 8 classrooms right now for our new digital transformation of our classrooms. And we had to make sure that we had different committees to ensure that everyone's voice is heard. We want input from everyone. We don't want to go and put something that us, the techie people, will understand and, we get it. No, we got to look and make sure everyone is involved.
Brock, a little bit of a different question here. From an integrator standpoint, how does bringing this type of equipment and this type of capability internally, how does that change the relationship with you guys? How does that change their relationship with their integrator? Because if they're bringing this in-house, well, they're not hiring out live events, right? They're not hiring out video production crews. They're hiring you, though, to give them that capability. So how does that change that relationship between the integrator and now an in-house production team?
We're broadcasting right now.
Yeah.
And we've been broadcasting certainly every day since COVID, everybody. The difference in this broadcast label and the video conferencing we do every day is really just a function of the production values. Is something automated? Is it properly framed? Is it properly lit? And then is it properly produced? My perspective, Tim, is that the primary difference between bringing broadcast capabilities in-house for corporations, institutions, universities, is the people who are operating it. That's the differential. It's not the gear. I can put a $20,000 camera in a boardroom. I can put a $120,000 camera in a boardroom, or a $22,000 one. The people who are running it are and ultimately responsible for the outcome that the end user sees are what makes it pro or not pro. So Walmart has had to hire people likely from the broadcast industry.
Yeah.
And if they're looking at, and I'm not sure how it is in Arkansas, but in Toronto, most of the really good people are union people, and they are paid really well, and they expect to be paid really well, and they're not going to work for some grocery store at grocery store internal tech support rates. And folks out of Bentonville don't spend any more money than they ever have to. So my guess is that they don't have these really high-level people on staff all the time. They're bringing them in for events. So that's not affecting the event industry at all. And a lot of the camera people that are out or production people the technical directors that are out on corporate shows now, well, those same people are working in broadcast. They have broadcast chops. And, the equipment is complicated. There's an awful lot of knowledge involved, and it has nothing to do with the gear whatsoever. The gear anybody can buy. So I don't think that there's any negative in this for the AV industry. We have to learn more. There's more software platforms our people have to know. They have to know NDI, not just AV over IP.
Yep.
They have to know SMPTE XXXX, not just Dante. And they're putting their fingers into production software that they can use. They just have to learn how to use it, and so it's great. I think that as Dr. Mark indicated, the good enough. We all see this image on screen every day, all the time.
Yeah.
And if we want to make a splash, it is not good enough. Buying a new camera isn't going to fix that. I'm happy to sell it to you, but it isn't going to fix it. The people behind that camera or the software that's driving that camera are going to be are what's going to change your life.
I want to bring up something here really quick before we move on, and it's something that's fascinating that the three of you have brought up here. We have inadvertently found a way to get rid of good enough. And what I mean by that is Pescatori has written articles about it. I've written articles about it. They've talked about it on AV and the AM. They've done. Oh my Lord! Are the folks that are making the decisions? They have grabbed a hold of this. It's good enough. Let's go. Right. We have inadvertently kind of stumbled upon a way to get. Well, that's the thing is, Brock. Right.
All right. So
the iPhone is good enough.
No. It's not just good enough. You can make a feature-length film on this phone.
Yeah.
If the right person is behind the lens, is on the other side of the lens, and is driving the production software. And that is, to me, is the future of the audiovisual industry, is not about the gear that we sell. The future of the AV industry is about the people and the skills of the people in the industry. We are not going to be replaced by AI cameras, right? We're just, an AI camera is awesome on an automated setting that non-technical people can use. But if I'm going to address the nation, I want a real camera person behind that lens. And I had to have a lighting director, and I had to have a tech director, and had to get the right angles at the right time, and had to make a show of it. And that and that is the future of our industry.
I must agree with that. Tim, because like in higher ed, it's all about the person that's going to train the faculty or the instructors how to use that technology in the classroom. And I don't say that because that's my post, but it's important. Like, you need to make sure that you know how the different devices, equipment are going to work together so that they will know how to deliver the instruction and don't have to worry about the technology, but worry about the delivery of their instruction. So it's important. The person behind the wheel.
I like this. All right. Our second story, probably our last story, Microsoft has enhanced its Teams town hall offering by integrating it more tightly with Teams Rooms systems in hybrid event settings. With the newest update, a Teams Room on Windows can join as a presenter, with front-of-room displays defaulting to attendee view, while presenters retain console control, including green room and off-stage management. Additional enhancements include ultra-low latency streaming, less than 5 seconds delay for Teams users that are on the premium side, as well as 1080p full HD support for live events. Brock, we're going to start with you on this. One of the things that I want to get you and Mark's take on first, and then we'll bring in Adeline as kind of the IT higher ed user here. This to me is an innovative piece, right? This is Microsoft saying, hey, here's something cool, here's something innovative, here's a way to push the industry forward, here's a way to push presenting forward. We just talked about that in the last story.
Bull.
Bull. Okay.
People have been doing great town halls without using Teams.
Yes.
They have been using other platforms. All Microsoft has done is come to the table, and their direct competitor is Zoom, and
Yes.
Zoom has had many more of these capabilities since. But there have been a lot of, broadcasts, let's circle back,
Yep.
in town hall settings for a long time, just using other platforms. And so I read this and went, well, I ain't using Teams for that anyway. So let's move on.
You have to understand, I have an iPhone, and and a couple of years ago, Apple went insane trying to push the fact that they now had USB-C connectivity. And I was sitting there going, oh, great. So you just caught up to Android from 5 years prior. Gonna have to agree with you, Brock.
My initial question was, who the heck is driving innovation?
Oh, we'll get to that.
To Brock's point, it was Zoom software, right? But Adeline,
Users are driving innovation.
Okay.
These,
Adeline,
this is the feature set that we need to have in order to do our jobs.
Okay. So, Adeline, how do you drill that through the integration partners, through the reps, through whoever, to get to the manufacturer to say, hey, or the software folks to say, hey, this is what I need?
At UCLA, we do Zoom and Microsoft Teams. So it's all about preference.
Really quickly, preference from who? Because here's this is a long conversation, but in higher education, there are users and then there are the real end users. The real end users here are the professors. So is it the professors driving that preference, or is it you guys?
It would have to be from the professors because they have a bigger voice than all of us. If that's what they take on and they say that's what we got to use, and the president of the UC agrees to that, then hello, what can we do? We have to, circle back and say, okay, this isn't stone. Like, we can't change that. So it's all about what instructors and faculty wants. I must say that. They have a voice. They have the loudest voice within the UC system.
So then how do you then translate? Because I have known a professor or two in my life, and sometimes they don't speak English. And that is not to say that they are multilingual. I'm saying they were born and raised speaking English, but what they speak now is not the actual English. It comes out as something else. How do you translate what it is they want or they think they want into something that a manufacturer, whether it's a software manufacturer or a hardware manufacturer, can take and actually create?
That's a good one, Tim. So it would definitely have to go all the way back to doing some research and having that conversation with the faculty and just learning more about what is it that you really want. Like, what do you need to make sure that your delivery is on point, is what should be offered to our students, right? Or scholars. Because at the end of the day, it's all about them in reality, because they're the ones that pay us. Even though you're the instructor, you're the faculty, at the end of the day, we don't have clients. If we don't have students, we don't have a job. So it has to be that conversation whereby we have to make sure that, it's happening. The conversationing is happening, and that we're going to offer Teams or Zooms. Well, we're talking about Microsoft Teams, and hoping that that will be the direction that everyone wants to go in at the end of the day.
We have time for one more story. This might go longer than our normal podcast, simply because of what it's about. We're going to pick on Microsoft again. Teams is set to roll out a location tracking feature that automatically updates a user's work location based on when they connect to their organization's Wi-Fi. Pause. Number one, it ain't on by default, so your administration, your IT administration has to turn this on. It doesn't roll out until December 2025. So let's start there. Do not want to freak anybody out. Now, Microsoft says that this is a way to reduce the quote-unquote ambiguity in hybrid work arrangements. Tim has his own personal opinions about security and privacy, and if you catch him at a trade show over a coffee, I'll tell you them. Detractors of this say this is just surveillance. The folks at Microsoft say this is a way just to make sure that there's seamless workflow and this, that, and the other. Adeline, we'll start with you. You are in a public university. When you look at stuff like this, is this, what does your team need to be aware of when it comes to where your folks are physically and then, balancing that between that and privacy and policy concerns?
So at UCLA, our team definitely needs to ensure, like what the article stated, transparency within the department, within the university of what's happening, and letting everyone be aware if that is the way we're going to go. We need you to know, despite we're hybrid, we will be tracking wherever you're at. So make sure whatever location you're telling us is the right one, because we'll be able to identify it. So I just think transparency would definitely solve a lot of the, issues that may arise. Outside of that, I feel like just ensuring that you speak and have that conversation again with your team of, this is what the policy is all about, making it clear that if the university allows it or not. Like for me right now, I'm out of state, out of country. Like I had to make sure to have that conversation, because there can only be so many days that I can be out of state to stay in compliance. You get what I'm saying? So it's all about making sure that you're setting your team up for success. And I'm not trying to get you fired or I'm just making sure you understand the policies if you want to do it.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because all four of us are in different states and in different countries. Brock, I'm going to pick on you for a second. Canada has their own privacy laws and policies. Mark and I are in two different states. Adeline, when she's in the States, she's in California. Mark's in Florida. I'm in St. Louis, and I live in Illinois, right? So there's 4 or 5, jurisdictions here. When you look at this, and you can take this from the Canadian standpoint or just generically AV, what are some of the concerns that your customers need to be concerned with when this does eventually roll out?
I don't think my customers are going to be concerned at all.
Okay.
I think that this is a feature that Microsoft is going to offer employers at no extra cost to ensure that they keep their Teams subscriptions or choose Teams over a competing platform. It is, this is a ka-ching kind of a thing. I doubt that there is an employer that won't want this. And I think it's going to be really challenging for some employees who have been accustomed to the anonymity of the little circle on the screen where they're calling in from, because they're calling in from the lounge at the gym. They're calling in from the Starbucks drive-through line, or they may be calling in from Belize, and so from an employer perspective, if that person is on my time, I should have the right to know where they are.
Mr. Pescatori, you'll have the last word on this.
All right. Well, I read your article. I like that. I thought it was a really good article, and made me think of one specific word, creepy. Then I thought of a different word, really creepy. Yeah, I know it's 2 words, but it feels like 1 word because this is really creepy.
Oh, it's 100% 1 word, dude. In this instance, it's 100% 1 word.
My favorite line from your story, and I quote, "The move could help large enterprises and universities maintain accurate location data for device coordination, but it may also blur the line between collaboration tracking and employee surveillance." To which I respond, well, duh. Now, look, I've been working from home for a long time, long before the pandemic, and the truth is, I like working in my office. I got a nice big ViewSonic screen. I'm comfortable here. But I live in South Florida, and my coworkers have teased me for a long time. Why don't you work outside? Why don't you work on a boat? Why aren't you at the beach? But now, instead of teasing, it's going to be accusatory. Hey, why are you working on the beach? Why are you working on a boat? How come you're sitting outside? I understand. I really do understand the concept of using this feature to collect workplace analytics. I'm just not sure that is more important than workplace ethics.
All right. That'll be a good place to stop. Thank you all so much. Dr. Adeline Tatum, thank you, ma'am. How do people connect with you or UCLA?
You could connect with me through LinkedIn, Adeline Tatum, or at UCLA, at atatum@it.ucla.edu.
All right, very good. Dr. Pescatore, thank you, sir. How do people connect with you or SCN?
Find all things systems contractor news at avnetwork.com.
And in about 2 or 3 weeks, by the time this post, you'll be one of my favorite issues of SCN, and that is the SCN Top 50. So look for that.
Working on it right now. Got extra gray hair to prove it.
Yeah. You've been doing that for too many years. I'm surprised you're not losing hair every year. So
It's a great service to the industry, Mark.
It absolutely is.
Thanks, Rob.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good salespeople creating that data.
Absolutely. Mr. McGinnis, always good to see you, sir. First and foremost, I appreciate your time, and I love having Brock on. Brock's doing some really cool stuff up in Canada Way. So how do people connect with you? How do people connect with Nationwide, and how do they get involved in your new venture?
People can find me. I'm Brock at nationwideav.com when I have my work hat on. But the hat that I'm really interested in wearing these days, we have started a new professional audiovisual association in Canada. We're called the Professional Audiovisual Society of Canada, or PAVC. We had a launch event on Tuesday that was just spectacular. In our first kind of several weeks of being open, we now have 350 plus members,
Good night.
and from coast to coast in Canada, and these are paid members. We're not like the other associations. We are not about business. We're not about manufacturers. We're not about contractors. We're about the people who do AV. And our whole mission is to elevate the AV industry in Canada and the people who are working in it. And so we're taking an approach. Part of this is about recruiting, and making sure that students know that AV is a darn cool place to work, and that there are thousands of AV jobs in Canada, and that they should be looking at AV as a viable career, because with technology changing all the time, and you're learning something all the time, it never gets old. I did, but the AV industry never gets old. And the other part of that is providing education. So there's some great certifications out there. Avixa does a super job of that. Manufacturers provide it, but not everybody in the AV industry has access to that. And employers are often the gatekeepers of what employees get to learn. So we're providing some bespoke education, as well as a portal that manufacturers and others can use to open up educational opportunities to freelancers, gig workers, people from AV who want to get into broadcast, people from broadcast who want to get into AV, and people who would like to maybe get off the ladder, but their employer is trying to keep them on the ladder, right? And so this is about supporting, enhancing career mobility and career advancement, and trying to take us. We've never been a particularly structured industry in terms of career advancement, and basically, it's so that if I tell my mom that I work in AV, she doesn't think I sell TVs. Right, and establishing something better. We're off to a great start. We have it's an all volunteer thing. We'll never have trade shows. We'll never have conferences to pay for, gleaming corporate headquarters. We're just about getting AV people who, like me, are mostly pretty darn passionate about what they're doing every day, and taking some of their experience and their time and putting it back into the industry. So, and we're having a little bit of fun with that. I don't know if you can see this properly online. I'll try and get it out of the glare of the monitor.
There we go.
It's playing on the Canadian A and AV, but we're doing some we're doing some good things. And the manufacturer and integrator and distribution community has come behind us incredibly quickly. We have not asked a single person or company for money, and we have an account full of it. From, I think we've got 30 some people who are companies, entities who've written us checks so far without being asked.
That's amazing.
So yeah, very exciting. Helps me jump out of bed every morning. Makes my my day job that much more interesting. And even the people within our own company very excited about this. So.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. For those of you who listen to the podcast, the sticker is a little Canadian beaver DJ. So yeah, that's very cool. I'll have Mitchell put a picture of it. So
Canadian AV.
AV. All right, thank you, sir. My name is Tim Albright. Do not follow me anywhere on the socials, because I'm probably going to be either celebrating or crying about the Chicago Bears. But go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others. We have a brand new AVNation special taking a look at the Sony ecosystem. Got to spend some time with those folks. You can check that out. I guess if you want to read stuff that I write about that has nothing to do with AV, you can follow me on LinkedIn. This week I wrote about how I write, which sounds a little bit meta, but it is what I did. So I just kind of went through kind of my process, creative process. Bottom line is I have to make an appointment for myself for the creative process, because I spent too many years waiting for inspiration to strike, and it just didn't. So I had to make an appointment for that. So you can check that out on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you're tired of watching my big dumb face, you can go listen to this on any place you get your podcasts. If you were listening to us and you want to see what these fantastic folks look like, you can check us out on YouTube. Either way, go the opposite direction. But go by the website, please, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That is all the time we have for AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Hello, this is Steve Greenblatt, host of AVNation's A State of Control podcast. Each month, Rich Fregosa and I explore trending topics related to control programming and automation in the audiovisual industry. We speak with a variety of AV professionals who share their perspectives, knowledge, and experiences. Please join us for this monthly conversation. Check out A State of Control on avnation.tv or wherever you get your podcasts.